Your Once Upon a Time in the West prints. I think it's one of the best prints I've seen in my life.
Well, the late, look, the late Brad Gray, head of Paramount at the time, struck that for me. I asked, I would say I would pay for it, and he was like, no, we're going to do it for you, and just thank you for all the enjoyment you've given me over the years. And it was just it was one of the nicest presents anyone's ever given me.
Yeah.
And I got the print, like, oh my God, this is like the best print of the world. I mean, not of just maybe of this movie. It might be the best print in the world of any movie. Well, look, I mean, the only thing that really could touch it is that magnificent Wild Bunch print that I have.
And Sergio Leone was a big influence, definitely because of the spaghetti westerns, and also because of one, he actually, he was like the first director where when I started really thinking about becoming a filmmaker, where I was like, wow, I mean, well, that's a director. That's a film well, his films are so stylized. They're they are so directed. I mean, yes, exactly. And you can even watch the whole filmmaking process. If you're thinking along those lines, if you're just trying to watch an entertaining story, it's there. All right.
Almost all the directors I like, their stuff, got more respected as time went on.
Right.
And then that, especially in the 50s and 60s and 70s, that was the way it was for more genre.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some of these guys popped. They just didn't quite get the universal acclaim.
Right.
I mean, Sergio Leone popped so much with the spaghetti westerns that he created an entire subgenre based on his films. But it's not like, the New York Times and the Los Angeles Times and Variety were ever talking about what an innovative, magnificent director he was. The original title was A Deux Amis, which is the French for farewell friend is the literal translation. Well, they did Red Sun. They're great together. Yeah, it isn't. Yeah, it's strangely enough. Yeah, it's in a hospital, I think. Oh no, it's not in a hospital.
Where is it?
It's in an office building. The doctor doing inoculations in the office building. That's how he knows about the set. That's along with the dynamic of the two guys. That's the really neat part about the idea of the heist, is they have the whole weekend to do it. There's 6 different dials that they have to do. And they figured it out. They know about 3 numbers out of 6, out of about 6 or 7 numbers. They know 3 of them. And so they figure out there's 3,042 combinations that they can do. But they figure if given the entire weekend, given 3 days straight, they can land on it, which is a really kind of neat idea. Well, this movie is extremely significant in the Bronson's career, in the mythology of his career, because up until this point, this is the movie that started Bronson's superstardom in Europe. It started with A Deux Amis. Bronson had been around for a long time. Everyone knew him. Everyone respected him. But he had never broken out of doing the supporting roles. Bronson did great, but he kept getting either the bad guy or what was considered in the 60s the Charles Bronson role. But Bronson wasn't getting leads in American movies, and he'd get the important guy in the group, but he would still he was stuck as a character actor. He was stuck playing supporting roles. And he's positive if he hadn't have gone to Europe that would have been the case. Bronson was sort of stuck. He wanted to be a leading man, but that just was not happening in America. What happened with The Deux Amis was Alain Delon was doing a film, and he had a part for an American tough guy that would be good. Alain Delon had always thought Bronson was terrific. So they thought, let's offer it to Charles Bronson. So they offered to Bronson. Bronson comes down to France, does The Deux Amis. Now, at that time, Alain Delon was the biggest star in France. He could do no wrong. And that went on for a long period of time. So A Deux Amis opens. It becomes the #1 movie in France that year. And Bronson ended up stealing the show. Now, it was Alain Delon that drew them into the theaters, but then the French just loved Bronson in that film. They just thought he was just amazing. And the combination of the tough guyness and I think that Bronson does about like 20 minutes of the movie with his shirt off, all right, when he's in that, where they're like, wow, these are two sexy dudes, right? Locked in that room forever.
Yeah.
Just ended up really, it made Bronson the most popular star in France at the end of that year. Well, when you look at it now, it's like, look, that is the movie. Without Ado with Me, you would not know that there would be the Charles Bronson. It wouldn't have happened for him.
So what's your favorite movie of 1969? What are your 3 favorite movies of 1969?
Oh, gosh. 3 favorite movies of 1969. I think 1969, that's actually not that great of a year, to tell you the truth. Off the top of my head, I think my 3 favorite movies are, it would probably be one of the spaghetti westerns. I actually think, I think it's 1969 as well, is Yellow Submarine. The Monkees movie Head, which I believe is 1969. Head is a fucking masterpiece, if you ask me. Yeah, directed by Bob Rafelson, written by Jack Nicholson.
And kind of panned at the time, right?
Oh, yeah. But I mean, I think that would definitely be in my top 5 movies in 1969, but even with if I gave this really serious consideration. That's a pretty hippy-dippy version, too.
Yeah, that's because Head is very trippy.
Yeah. No, I don't think I actually saw Rosemary's Baby. I missed Rosemary's Baby. I think through my childhood. I think when I finally saw it, I don't think I saw it even from beginning to end. Mm-hmm. I think it was just it was on television and I saw little clips from it. But I remember when it came out. I mean, there was the 2 scariest graphic posters of, when I was 4 and 5, whereas the pictures of the guy's eyes from In Cold Blood. And that poster was always really scary. And then the crib, on the Rocky Mountain was always really scary to me. I didn't actually end up seeing Rosemary's Baby from beginning to end, frankly, to tell you the truth, until fairly recently. In the last 6 years was the first time I sat down and watched Rosemary's Baby from beginning to end. It was one of those things I felt like I'd seen it. I think Rosemary's Baby is actually one of the greatest movies ever made now and stuff. But it was one of those ones that I ended up missing it. It was just so famous by that time. And also, for some reason, I never took it home to watch it on video. And I didn't really want to watch it on television, because usually before video cassettes, when a cool movie ended up on television, well, that was the death of it because they were going to cut the crap out of it. So I never wanted to watch it then. I just saw little sections of it. Oh, he was the hottest director, most famous director in the world.
I've met him a couple of times. The hottest filmmaker alive, which at that time, it's almost unfathomable now to think about how much money Rosemary's Baby made in its day. Back then, if a movie made $8 million, it was like, oh my God. All right, that made $35 million or something. No, I'm a fan of Roman Polanski's work, but in particular Rosemary's Baby. I like that a lot.
Well, it was that movie. That movie caught a wave. That movie made $30 million back when movies didn't make $30 million, not in their first run. If a movie made $12 million, oh wow, that's
a huge
that's
hit.
a smash. My Fair Lady would make $60 million or $70 million. Sound of Music would make $60 million or $70 million because they played for 3 years straight continuously, and every family in America saw it like 3 times. So to make in your initial run, make $30 million in a movie that they're being rather prohibitive about who and who can't see it, it was a phenomenon. And The Devil had never been dealt with in that realistic a form before. A horror film had never seemed both so completely realistic, completely living in the world that we know, and then yet be terrifying. It was also the explosion of Mia Farrow as an icon, as a style icon. Twiggy could have played that part with the Sassoon haircut, with her Peyton Place lineage, with then the whole Frank Sinatra of it all still attached to everything. It was an absolute phenomenon.
Sharon, Roman would have cast her as Rosemary.
Oh, wow.
If he could have. All right. He said, he said that, I can't imagine anybody but Mia Farrow playing the role. All right. But he said that, he actually would have loved to have cast Sharon as Rosemary, but he kept waiting for the Paramount producers to bring it up. And when they didn't bring it up, he thought it would be unprofessional of him to bring it up. But if they had of, he would have gone right down that road.
I have a movie theater in Los Angeles, a revival house called the New Beverly. Usually on October, it's all horror films, the entire calendar. But what I look for our midnight movies is usually on our Saturday midnights, we change it up. But what I try to do on October is find a bona fide horror classic that is 100% held the test of time, that everyone knows about it, most people have seen it, but maybe they haven't seen it on film in a good print in a while. Or maybe they've never seen it, or it's been 20 years since they've seen it with an audience reacting to it. But a bona fide, across the board, modern day horror classic, not showing the black and white one. The second one was Rosemary's Baby, and that played magnificently. But there's an interesting thing about Rosemary's Baby is in Polanski's autobiography, he didn't want anything supernatural to happen during the course of the movie because he wanted Rosemary to be an unreliable narrator. He wanted you to feel that she could just be crazy. Nothing supernatural happens for the entire course of the movie. She could just be paranoid. She could be suffering from some weird pregnancy delusion.
It's a Rosemary's Baby kind of thing, where, the whole thing Polanski wanted to do with Rosemary's Baby is, we take Rosemary's word for the conspiracy that she thinks is happening because, 1, we're watching a horror film. And 2, we like Rosemary, so we're taking her at her word, and it's a fucking horror movie.
The thing, I like the reading. I really, really, really enjoy the reading of Rosemary's Baby, that she's just going through postpartum depression.
Yeah.
There is absolutely nothing supernatural that happens in the movie up until at the very end, and even that is ambiguous, and that she literally could be fucking losing it. She literally could be fucking losing it, and Ralph Bellamy could be 100% right. And the only thing that says it's not is when they go, look at his eyes. Well, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
And he's going to take over the world with eyes like a fucking coyote?
But
well, no. What does
read
that
so much
mean?
into that.
Yeah, exactly. We read so much into that. Even, the lovemaking scene, well, that could just all be a dream. That's a really interesting point. It's not until she actually says, what have you done to his eyes? That there is finally a physical manifestation of what she's been talking about. All of her fears of the neighbors and the things that they're doing, all of it is absolutely circumstantial evidence. She could just be a paranoid freak. Even to the point when she goes to her Charles Grodin, her first doctor, and even when, sinister Dr. Saperstein says, if you don't quit messing around, we're going to take you straight to an insane asylum. Well, if she was actually really flipping out, that's probably what they would say to her.
But if you look at everything she's saying, it's just all circumstantial evidence. There's nothing necessarily there's nothing supernatural in anything she's saying. Even at the end, okay, yes, she's right. There is a conspiracy going against her. Does that mean it's the devil's son? Could they just all be a bunch of lunatics? Yes. If they all said "Hail Pan" as opposed to "Hail Satan," would you take them less seriously? Nothing could be going on.